Thank you. Y'all come back over here a little bit. Well, it's great to be at the Neshoba County Fair. It's great to be at the Neshoba County Fair, and it's great to have Ely and these three girls with us today. You know, it's been great to have them out on the campaign trail for the last 7 months. You know, the reality is that a lot of politicians will come up here and they'll call their wives their better half. Well, I'll tell you, I was down in Mize at the Watermelon Festival the other day, and this old boy was sitting there eating watermelon, and I talked to him. He said, "Tate, I seen your wife on TV." I said, "Yes, sir. She is my better half." He looked at me and he said, "Tate, she ain't your better half. She's at least your better 9/10." Hey, and then I was up in Blue Mountain about a month ago campaigning, and I was walking around, and this little lady, nice as she could be, looked up at me and she said, "Tate, I've already decided I'm going to vote for you." And I said, "I appreciate that. Thank you." She said, "But, you know, I've been around a long time, and I was wondering, could I give you some advice?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am, you sure can." She looked at me just as serious as she could. She said, "I've been seeing them TV commercials of you. And what I think you ought to know is this. I think we need more Ely and less Tate." Thank you, girl. Well, having seen these four girls standing up here, you probably know it's been a long time since I actually won a negotiation at my house. Now, look, if you came here to hear great jokes and political stories from 50 years ago, you just might be disappointed. But if you came here to hear about what we can do together to grow opportunity in Mississippi, then we're about to have a really good time. Now, I'm not running for governor against bad candidates. I'm running for governor against bad ideas. You see, I think it's a bad idea to help liberals against President Donald J. Trump. I think it's a bad idea to put more people on public assistance. I think it's a bad idea to pursue a policy that dumps people off of private insurance and puts them on government insurance. And I stand before you today telling you that I am the only candidate running for governor that opposes Obamacare expansion in Mississippi. Now, I'm against it for philosophical reasons, but I'm not just against it for philosophical reasons. I'm also against it for policy reasons. It is bad public policy for the state of Mississippi to expand Obamacare, and I will fight it every single day. Now, Jim Hood wants you to believe that money from Washington is free. He wants you to believe that $220 million that it would cost for Obamacare expansion isn't going to cost anybody anything. Nothing's free. Nothing's free. You're exactly right. Now, I also think it's a bad idea to make it more expensive for Mississippians to drive to work. That is why I am the only one running for governor that is against raising your gas taxes. Governor Bryant, Speaker Gunn, and I led a special session a year ago to address our infrastructure needs. As you all know, the Mississippi Economic Council was the leading advocate for us doing more for infrastructure, and they were right. We passed a piece of legislation, by the way, that some candidates when running for public office have said is a drop in the bucket. We passed a piece of legislation that's going to spend $1.1 billion more on infrastructure over the next 5 years. Now, I don't know about y'all, and I don't know what lawyers in Jackson think, but in Florence, Mississippi, $1.1 billion is real money. And oh, by the way, the Mississippi Economic Council, our state's Chamber of Commerce, called that legislative session not a single, not a double, not a triple. They called that a home run, and I'm proud that we were able to do it. Speaking of the Mississippi Economic Council, I agree with them when they say our number one priority in the state must be job creation. Now, Ely and I met a long time ago when I was a sophomore and she was a freshman at Millsaps College. I will admit to you that we met because I was showing her how to use a financial calculator. Now, she says we're probably the only love story in the history of the world that had something to do with a financial calculator. But I'm running for governor because I believe job creation must be our number one priority. Creating better and higher paying jobs for our people. But I have a political philosophy which says government does not create jobs. Government's role is to create an environment which encourages those in the private sector to invest capital and create jobs. To do that, we must do three things. Number one, we got to have a fiscally responsible government. I admit I pay too much attention to the numbers, but I'm proud of the fact that Mississippi's in the best financial shape today that we have ever been in. I'm proud of the fact that Mississippi is in the best fiscal shape today that we have ever been in. And unlike what's going on in Washington, D.C. and so many other states around this country, I'm proud of the fact that Mississippi taxpayers have less debt on the books today than they had 8 years ago when I ran for lieutenant governor. Now, the second thing we must do is we got to have a tax code that is fair, one that is flat, one that encourages economic development, not one that discourages it. I'm proud I championed the largest tax cut in Mississippi history because you know how to spend your money better than any governmental entity ever will. Now, this is a fault line in this campaign. You see, Jim Hood thinks the Bryant-Reeves tax cuts was a mistake. Jim Hood thinks the Trump tax cut was a mistake. Hell, Jim Hood thinks the fact that we have President Trump is a mistake. The third thing we must do if we're going to see long-term economic growth is we must improve the educational attainment level of our citizens. I'm committed to spending more money on public education, and we're spending $400 million more today than we spent just 4 years ago. Our high school graduation rates are at an all-time high, and they're up 10% from 74 to 84% just 8 years ago. Our fourth grade reading and fourth grade math, our eighth grade reading and eighth grade math results, in every single category, they're up. Eighth grade math is the worst our kids do, and we outperform 38 other states. We're 12th in the nation in gains for 10-year numbers. Fourth grade reading, because of education reforms that some candidates want to roll back, fourth grade reading results, 10-year growth numbers in Mississippi, we outperform just 48 other states. We're second in the nation in gains in fourth grade reading. Thank you to our teachers. Thank you to our administrators. Thank you to our students. And thank you to our parents. Now, what this comes down to is this. Unemployment in Mississippi is at an all-time low. The number of people working in Mississippi is at an all-time high. In fact, 80,000 more people are working today than when I became lieutenant governor and was running on this stage just 8 years ago. Now, Jim Hood says that our state was better off in the early 1980s than it is today. How do y'all feel about that? Well, I think somebody needs to buy Jim Hood a financial calculator. But he can't have Ely's. I want to thank all of you for being here. The main thing in 2019 is for us to keep the main thing the main thing. And the main thing is that our political enemies amongst conservatives is not one another. Our political enemy is the liberal policy ideas of the party of Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi and Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton and Jim Hood. Thank you, Neshoba County. It has been my honor and my privilege to serve you as your Lieutenant Governor. It has been my honor and my privilege to work with our next speaker, the governor of this great state, Phil Bryant. I'm honored to have his support in this campaign. I'm honored to have his endorsement in this campaign, and I look forward to working with all of you to make Mississippi an even better place to invest capital, an even better place to create jobs, and an even better place to raise the family. God bless you!